All right, good morning, Mick. So got your email. I was gonna see if I could have you help me out on a few things to kind of get started with this. And you know your MLS system better than I do, so rather than me trying to fumble through it or making phone calls and trying to fumble through it through me, I would rather that if you could just do this first part because you already can call in and get if you don't already know how to download in your system, you can call in and find out. So this is what we're after. So in my MLS system, I can export the data, all the data, um, in chunks of 5,000. So or 5,000 records. So ideally, what we'd want to do is go back a year's worth of data, and we need this. And here's like an example of a download that I just did out of my MLS system. And so what we're looking for is a couple things. We want to know all the cash solds in an area, and then I'm going to plot that in a Google map. This isn't a very good example, but it'll look something like this, but a lot more records. Obviously, this is just probate records, and we're going to be able to kind of see the areas of Nashville that we want to focus on and areas that we don't want to focus on. Like, you know, obviously, I mean, like for example, if this was cash sold, we probably wouldn't focus a whole lot in here. Um, so, just for example, in Denver, I already know Denver. I've done this a long time ago, but whenever I look at a new market, this is something I'm doing. So, if I did cash solds in Denver, for example, I immediately could see that I probably not going to focus a lot on Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch, Castle Pines, maybe a little bit in Castle Rock. Not a lot out here, but I know that I'd focus a lot here. I'd be focusing a lot really in here, um, definitely up here, areas of this town. So it's going to give us a more targeted approach with this data. And so that's one thing we're going to do with this data. The second piece of this data that we're going to use, and I'm hoping this is pretty important. I'm hoping that we're going to get email addresses. So this is what we're going to use for our buyers list. So we got in my downloads, I get buyers agent emails, and I also get listing agent emails. And we can actually filter these down and just use the cash solds emails, but I just use them all, get them out to all the real estate agents. Is one of the ways that we build our buyers list. So we do a mass marketing campaign when we get a deal to real estate agents, and we'll go over that later about how we approach that you know, without having to pay them a commission. So, because a lot of these people in here a lot of these agents in here are are investors themselves. Most investors that get in this game also get their license. They also list their own houses. So that's why we're going to also need that data. So with all that said, I also want to, if we're going to do a lot of back and forth communication on showing each other how to do things, I definitely recommend downloading Screenomatic. That's what I use. I pay for it. It's 19 bucks a year, but there's a free version that works just fine. There's just a couple added benefits to the paid version, like you can copy the link before it's done downloading, which is it's worth it for me. I shoot 2 or 3 videos a day for my VAs. This is how I communicate back and forth between my VAs on training them on certain tasks or communicating certain ideas. It's just easier to show them rather than type it out. It taking me an hour in an email to type it out. So what in my MLS system, I can, like I said, I can download. Here's like a map that I did around the city, and so I kind of mapped out the Denver metro area. I'm not going up to Longmont right now, or Fort Collins, all that stuff. Those would be separate chunks if I was to do this. And then I'm just doing the closed data, and I have to do days because I can only download um, 5,000 in a record. So this is 5,000 plus. So I have to find that kind of the happy medium. For example, like this, and still, so maybe 30 days. So there I'd go ahead and make that download, and that's what I did here. And then I'd go back up here and I would do like 30 to 45 days, download those records, and so on until I got back all the way back to a year for 365 days. And with that, we would compile. And you don't need to, if you're not familiar with Excel or you don't mess with Excel a lot, you can just send those spreadsheets to me. I'll compile them, and then I will do two things with it. I'll organize that data, and then I'll plot it on a map, and then we'll share that map. So that's kind of the first step, and I was gonna see if you could help me with that, just because I've, working through, I've done this before in other markets, and instead of me trying to fumble through your MLS system and calling you to make a call to your help desk to figure out how to do something, it's just easier for you to do it. It will be a little bit of work if you don't already know how to do this in your system, but it's important to know because you always want to be able to download data like this to do analytics of your market. So, but this data is going to be our starting point. If you could do that, that would be great. So just let me know. If you need some help there, I'll try to log in and help you, but you might have to just call your help desk if you're not familiar how to do the complete downloads. So like in mine, if I was going to download this, I would I'd click on the records, search. I would select all those. So I've got all 3,000 records there. I'd export it, and then I'd do a full export. So I'm getting everything. And then that's my Excel sheet. So anyways, that's the kind of the first step. If you could help me out with that, that would be a big help. So anyways, that's it. So just let me know if you have any questions about that.